Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the newly released G.I. Joe Classified series Zartan. Now for those of you who may or may not have heard me mention the Classified series in some of my Transformers reviews, you have asked why, if I praise this line so highly, why don't I take a look at some of the figures over on the channel? Well, in today's review that's all about to change, as we are going to be taking a look at the channel's first ever G.I. Joe Classified series figure. Starting off firstly by taking a look here at the packaging, you can see we have an amazing piece of artwork here of Zartan. Of course, the G.I. Joe logo here at the bottom, a great window view display which showcases the figure and all of his accessories. As we swing around here to the back of the box, we once again have a fantastic image there of Zartan with his mask of disguise, and then as we take a look here towards the back of the box, we do once again have another fantastic piece of artwork, however this time with some additions when compared to some of the earlier waves, such as the Cobra Troopers. We now have Zartan as well as Beachhead here on the left. Taking a look here towards the other side, we have various different insignias, and here at the top we have the Dreadnoks insignia. So without further ado, let's crack Zartan open and see what awaits us inside. And here we have the Master of Disguise Zartan opened up and out of the packaging, and yet again another great entry into the G.I. Joe Classified series line. Now unlike some of the previously released 3.75 inch figures, Zartan here unfortunately does not have the ability to change colour. That may have been slightly too ambitious for Hasbro to approach here for their 6-inch line. However, I'm pretty certain that we may see a repaint of this character later down the line. Starting off firstly by taking a look here at the detail, this figure here is sublime, much like all of the Classified series figures. Not only is he exceptionally articulated, but the sculpt work is really well done. Now Zartan is indeed an entirely new sculpt and does not feature any reused parts from some of the previously released Classified series figures. As we take a look here towards his head, I absolutely love this almost unearthly look that we have got going on here for the eyes. He certainly does look very deceptive and is someone that you really don't want to get involved with. You can see that as far as the hood is concerned, we've got some fantastic sculpt work as well as some really nice looking paintwork on this as well. This here of course has been cast in a slightly more pliable piece of plastic and is indeed a separate piece, so if you wished you could completely remove this in order to reveal Zartan's bald head. You can see the sculpt work as well as the definition there to his skull has come out really nicely. You can see we've got some nice sculpt work going along there for the ears, and I do like the paintwork all the way around the character's eyes, and the definition where the nose is concerned is really well done, incredibly realistic. The bandana too is also a separate sculpt, so this can be moved around in order to go with any poses that you may get this figure in, or of course you can remove this as it is too a separate piece. As we take a look here towards the armour of his chest, this looks very sleek and I love the way it looks, especially with all of the sculpt work, and I do like the different tones as far as the paintwork is concerned. You can see we have a much darker highlight here towards the centre, a little lighter, and then once again a little darker, and the sculpt work here for the shoulder pads too has also come out really well. If we just remove the backpack, the sculpt does continue all the way around here to the back, and we've also got some really nice looking definition there to the shoulder pads, and the muscular sculpt work too is very impressive. You can see there that we've got all of these different veins protruding out of his bicep, and I love the way this entire section here looks. Taking a look at the forearms, you can see he does have some nice armor detail, and the fingers too have also been sculpted really nicely, and you can see here the difference as far as texture is concerned. We have a little more harder material here for the base of the hand, and the fingers have been textured in a way in order to give you the illusion that that material is slightly more pliable. As we turn our attention here to the lower torso, you can once again see some exceptional sculpt work going along here, and I do actually like the colour of plastic that they have moulded this in. It looks very authentic, and I do like the glossy finish as well. It certainly does give you the impression of skin. As we turn our attention here to the utility belt, you can see some exceptional sculpt work going along this, and I once again love how realistic and authentic this particular piece does look. This too is a separate piece, however unlike the hood and the bandana, it is indeed glued into place here at the back, so you will be unable to actually manipulate this, but you can see underneath this we have a separate layer of Zartan's belt. And then turning our attention here down to the lower section of the figure, I think that the proportions as well as the anatomy here look great. We also do have some armor plating here on the sides as well as here for the knees, and then taking a look at the shins and the feet, I also believe that these two look incredibly well done. As far as accessories are concerned, Zartan does actually include a plethora, so we get this really awesome serrated looking dagger, and I love how the actual finger can slide into this circular section. We also do get this very futuristic looking blaster, and much like the blade, does have some exceptional looking sculpt work going along for it. As far as weapon storage for these two weapons are concerned, you can take the dagger here and just remove it from his hand of course and sheath it into this section here at the back, and unlike some of the other Classified series figures, this does indeed sheath all the way in, and this section here too has got some really nice sculpt work, and the way they have given different paint apps for certain sections in order to bring out a different look as far as the texture is concerned, I also believe is very well done. As far as actually storing the blaster is concerned, we can take his backpack here, which is completely loaded with additional accessories such as these lucky charms. You can see we do have the monkey hand here, and the texture and sculpt work on this too has come out really nicely. And we also do have what appears to be a decapitated cobra head, and the sculpt work as well as even the paintwork for the interior of the mouth too has come out really nicely. Now we do have a couple of options with these lucky charms. You can tab them here onto his backpack, or you can indeed remove them and actually tab them onto the belt, which can create for some different display options, as well as of course a different look for Zartan. As far as this backpack is concerned, I actually believe this to be one of the more impressive accessories that we've gotten from the line so far. You can see how we have all of this tech detail here at the top, and the way it has been designed looks very heavy duty. As we actually open this section here up, it does indeed reveal even further details, and look, we do have Zartan's mask of disguise hiding out in there. But you can see I love the attention to detail, such as the paintwork as well as the sculpt work on this piece, and this is something that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily see all that much when on display. That is a great attention to detail and is why I love the Classified series line. Taking a look here at Zartan's mask of disguise, you can see the sculpt work on this too has come out really well, and the paintwork has come out incredibly crisp and precise with the brown eyebrows, brown moustache, and then the brown goatee. We also do have some nice definition to the sculpt, as well as the very unearthly white eyes. And then taking a look here towards the interior, we also do have some sculpted detail, as this can indeed fit over Zartan's face sculpt. So in order to demonstrate this, you just simply want to take this, snap that there over the top, and you can see how from a front perspective the illusion is certainly created. And if we bring back in his bandana and wrap this over his neck, and of course bring in the hood, it looks even better in my personal opinion. So a really nice accessory. The only downside to this is that the face does look slightly too puffy, as of course we are taking a face mask and applying it over a pre-existing face sculpt. Some may have preferred alternate head sculpts, however I believe this method here works well enough. Of course we can take the blaster, and as mentioned earlier on, this too does have a place to store. You can just simply peg it onto these tabs on the outer section here of the backpack, and just to demonstrate how that all looks, you can see that you can have that hanging there, the lucky charms here, and if you really wanted to, you could also attach the knife here on the side as well using the hoop that we used in order to insert his index finger in. As far as Zartan's articulation is concerned, I'll just very quickly remove the faceplate. He does have a ball joint here at the head, which can of course look left to right, as well as a hinge joint which can look up to a great degree, as well as of course can look down. We do get slight tilt side to side, however if we do utilise the ball joint at the neck, we can certainly get a much greater range of motion out of both the neck hinge as well as the ball joint for the neck. So you can see how he can look up that far as well as can look down that far. We can of course tilt side to side and rotate the full 360. The arms here are on butterfly joints, so these can rock side to side as well as rotate the full 360. An area of critique that I do have is that I would have preferred the shoulder pad to actually be attached to the top here of Zartan's shoulder. As you can see, as you do move the arm around, it doesn't look all that seamless, and I personally believe that as far as a design choice goes, this is an area which is slightly flawed. We do get a full 360 rotation here at the bicep, as well as a double joint here for the elbow, full 360 rotation here at the wrists, as well as hinge joints which can pivot up and down. We also do get an ab crunch which can crunch forward that far, as well as back to that far. We do get a ball joint here at the waist which has the capability of rocking all the way around, as well as of course rotating the full 360. We of course do get the drop down hips, which I absolutely love. This allows for a greater range of motion kicking forwards, as well as of course kicking back. He can do the splits, full 360 rotation here at the thigh, as well as a double joint here for the knee. And then taking a look here to the lower section, we do get a boot swivel. The foot here can pivot forwards and backwards. Unfortunately, it doesn't pivot forwards all that far due to the nature of his design, but we can of course also rock this here side to side. So as far as articulation is concerned, for me personally, I believe this is just as good as an import figure, and that is one of the main reasons why I absolutely love the G.I. Joe Classified series line. For a quick Classified series size comparison, here we have Zartan compared next to some other foes such as the Cobra Trooper and of course the legendary Baroness, and you can see that he scales here in my opinion perfectly alongside some of the rest of the action figures in this line. And so, some final thoughts. Overall, I believe this to be yet again another really well done figure by the G.I. Joe Classified series line. He comes with a great array of accessories, which of course allows for this figure to have a great playability factor. I love the attention to detail on some of these weapons, especially where the dagger and the backpack is concerned. I was not expecting any paintwork in the interior of that, and the fact that it can actually open in order to store his mask of disguise, in my opinion, is incredible. I also believe that the detail, as well as the paintwork on some of the lucky charms too, is really well done. and the overall sculpt work to his head and of course the armor plating too looks really awesome. The articulation, as brought up in some of my Transformers reviews, I believe the G.I. Joe Classified Series line is the best articulated line that Hasbro have got going for it so far. Marvel Legends and the Black Series certainly do have to watch out for this line, as in my opinion the articulation on some of these figures obliterates anything from some of those mentioned lines. A few areas of critique and perhaps improvements that I would like to have seen made to this figure would have been the ability for the character to actually change colour, much like we saw from some of the very early 3.75 inch figures. However, I'm pretty certain that there was a reason why they didn't do that. Perhaps they didn't believe it looked all that great on this particular release, and maybe it was just out of budget. As it stands, I personally don't really have much of an issue with that, but I would have liked to have seen the actual shoulder pads moulded onto his actual shoulders so that when you articulated him, it looked a little more seamless, and it would have been nice to get a little more range of motion as far as the ankle rocker pivot forwards and backwards went. But overall, another stellar looking figure, and is one that I'm pretty certain many collectors are going to be after. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below. Also, be sure to let me know on whether or not you would like to see some future reviews of these G.I. Joe Classified Series figures on the channel, and of course, be sure to let me know on what you think of the figure itself. I really hope that you enjoyed this review, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.